Who are the Enawene-Nawe who live on fish, honey, and fear? Today, Ben, we are diving into a story that frankly sounds like a fantasy novel, but it is intensely, tragically real. We're going to the heart of the Brazilian Amazon, Mato Grosso state, to talk about a people whose very existence is a miracle of adaptation and ritual. The Enawene-Nawe. And I mean it when I say this is a story you will not have heard before. This is a people who number about 500, and their entire way of life, their entire cosmology hinges on one incredible fact. Dr. Carter, let's not bury the lead. What is the single most unique thing about the Enawene-Nawe diet?
Ava, it's the defining feature that sets them apart from virtually every other tribe in the Amazon and possibly the world. They are a tribe of around 500 people who, strictly, do not eat any red meat. They rely almost exclusively on fish, manioc, corn, and a staggering amount of wild honey. This isn't a modern choice. This is a deeply ingrained spiritual prohibition. It's part of their cosmic contract. And because their environment is so rich, particularly in fish, they have managed this incredible feat of subsistence.
A whole society, no red meat. Think about the complexity of the Amazon, the jaguars, the tapias, the game animals that virtually every other hunter-gatherer group depends on. And the Enawene-Nawe have opted out. Is this just cultural, or is there a story behind it?
It's the story, Ava, and it's the core of their entire universe. The prohibition on red meat is directly tied to the Yakairiti, the spirits of the underworld. These subterranean beings are not only powerful, they are the literal owners of the natural resources, including the land, the rivers, and the fish. To kill and eat a large four-legged animal, particularly any game that sheds blood on the earth, is to deeply offend the Yakairiti. It's a violation of the sacred pact.
So their continued existence isn't just about finding food, it's about appeasing the landlords of their world. If they offend the Yakairiti, what is the punishment?
The punishment is absolute and terrifying. The elders, like the one named Kawari, are explicit. If you finish off the earth and the fish, the Yakairiti will take vengeance. This doesn't just mean a poor harvest. It means vengeance will kill all the Enawene-Nawe. They believe that the health of their community, illness, death, disaster, is directly linked to maintaining this cosmic balance. The Red Meat Taboo is a constant, daily act of respect to keep the underworld from rising up and taking them all.
That is a life lived in constant ritual accountability. Let's talk about the logistics of that. A tribe of 500 people needs a lot of protein. If they can't hunt big game, they must be masters of the water. How do they actually live? Where do they put 500 people?
They are unparalleled masters of riverine ecology. They live in a unique, highly centralized way. Unlike many other Amazonian groups that disperse into small hamlets, the Enawene-Nawe live in a single, massive village. This village is laid out in a perfect circle, and it is defined by a series of enormous communal houses, or malokas.
Wait, one village for the whole tribe? How big are these houses?
Each maloka is home to up to 50 people, housing several extended families. They're built from wood and thatch, surrounding a large central clearing. At the very heart of the village, in the center of that circle, is the House of the Sacred Flutes, which itself is a testament to the fact that their entire social structure is organized around their sacred life. Kinship, food production, and their physical space are all aligned for the singular purpose of sustaining their relationship with the spirits.
So the village itself is a cosmic map. The spirits live below and above, and the human village is the center point, the axis. And how does the fish supply work? They can't just fish with a rod all day for 500 people.
No,
They practice fishing on an industrial yet sustainable scale. This is where their engineering skills come in. Their calendar is split between the wet season and the dry season, and in the wet season, the men and boys move out into the forest for a several-month-long fishing expedition.
The Great Expedition.
Exactly. They divide into groups and go to different rivers to perform an ancient, incredibly sophisticated technique. They build intricate wooden dams right across the river. These aren't simple nets. They are complex constructions of interwoven logs and branches built to strategically trap and harvest huge quantities of fish as the water levels change.
A massive civil engineering project just for fish.
Absolutely. While at these fishing camps, sometimes for around 2 months, they don't just eat the fish, they smoke it in specially built houses to preserve it. This smoked fish is what sustains the entire tribe for the next 4 months. And, most importantly, it is the central offering for their greatest ritual. This whole logistical operation, the separation of the men and boys, the construction of the dams, the smoking of the fish, it's all a preface to the most critical 4 months of their year. It is all for the Yakwa.
The Yakwa. UNESCO calls it a priceless treasure, an urgent safeguarding necessity. This isn't just a religious holiday, is it? It's the ritual that literally saves the world in their eyes. Let's take a quick segment break. When we return, Dr. Carter is going to walk us through the Yaqwa ritual, how it works, what the music means, and why this spiritual banquet is the only thing keeping the Yakairiti from unleashing their vengeance. You do not want to miss Act 2. Welcome back to Echoes of the Earth. We are discussing the Enawene-Nawe of the Brazilian Amazon, the red meat-free tribe whose survival is tied to an immense 4-month-long ritual called Yakwa. Dr. Carter, let's pick up right where we left off. The men return from the fishing camps with canoes full of smoked fish, and the ritual begins. What is the Yakwa?
The Yakwa, or the Banquet of the Spirits, is the absolute centerpiece of Enawene-Nawe life. It's an elaborate, intense 4-month-long exchange of food between the human world and the spirit world. It's not a celebration, it's an obligation. The whole year is organized to prepare for and execute this ritual. The smoked fish, the manioc cakes, the immense quantities of wild honey, all of it is offered.
So the food exchange. How does an offering work when the recipients are invisible spirits?
It's a beautiful and complex embodiment. The spirits, both the Yakairiti from the underworld and the Enawene-Nawe from the celestial plane, mark their presence in the village by embodying themselves in the humans. The men, wearing elaborate feather headdresses and special costumes, dance, chant, and play the sacred flutes around the open fires in the central square. But here's the critical part. They are not just performing for the spirits. They are performing as the spirits.
The spirits consume the offerings through the bodies of the dancers.
Precisely. The ritual is a series of lavish banquets. The spirits, embodying the men, feast on the food and drink. They are viewed as predatory beings who are almost always dissatisfied. They visit the village daily, eyeing the food. If they are displeased, or if the offerings are insufficient, they return to their own domain angry, and their anger translates into illness and death for the Enawene-Nawe.
The cosmological stakes are incredibly high. It's not just about a good year. It's about preventing an apocalypse. Let's talk about the 2 different spirit worlds that are involved in this exchange. You mentioned the Yakairiti, the underworld spirits, who own the earth and the fish. Who are the Enawene-Nawe?
The Enawene-Nawe are the celestial spirits, the owners of honey and certain flying insects. The Enawene-Nawe believe they live on the upper level of the universe and accompany them on fishing and gathering trips, providing protection from the dangers of the outside world. The ritual recognizes both groups.
And this is reflected in the food, the salt and the honey.
Yes, the 2 food items are cosmologically complementary. The Yakairiti, the underworld spirits, are invoked
through the painstaking fabrication and consumption of vegetable salt. Salt is scarce, difficult to make, and is consumed in a form of symbolic feeding. It's exceptionally effective for calling upon the subterranean beings.
The ultimate act of reverence, the rare, hard-won commodity.
Exactly. Contrast that with honey. Honey is abundant, gathered throughout most of the year in an event known as the Kete Oko, the honey feast. Honey is the offering used for the celestial spirits, the Enawene-Nawe. The balance of the cosmos is literally enacted through the exchange of scarce salt for the underworld and abundant honey for the heavens. And the entire 4-month ritual is a dense mixture of music, chanting, and ecological practice. The fishing operation and the ritual are inseparable.
The flutes are central to this, right? The very heart of the village holds the house of the sacred flutes.
The music is critical. They use a wide variety of flutes and rattles made from bamboo and gourds. The sound produced in the central clearing is described as orchestral. What's fascinating is that the instruments are not random. Each ritual group plays a different instrument, and that instrument, in turn, is directly related to a specific group of spirits. The music is the language of the spirits, enabling the spiritual possession and the ritual exchange to take place. Without the flutes, without the malokas forming the sacred circle, without the smoked fish, the Yakwa simply cannot happen.
It's an incredible, self-contained system. The Red Meat Taboo ensures the land spirits are placated. The wooden dams ensure the fish supply. The smoked fish provides the offering. The flutes provide the channel. The honey and salt balance the cosmos. It's a perfect 4-month-long engine of cosmic stability.
It is, and that's why the sheer fragility of it is so terrifying. The Enawene-Nawe were first contacted in 1974. At that time, they numbered just 97 individuals. They've grown to about 500 today, which is a demographic success story. But for decades, this small, self-contained world operated in a fragile harmony. They circulated widely, using their territory for agriculture, fishing, and gathering. Their political and social life is focused on one thing: maintaining balance and harmony with nature and the spirit world. And that harmony has been absolutely shattered. The sophistication of the Yakwa, the depth of the cosmology, the sheer engineering feat of their fishing camps, all of it is on the verge of total collapse. This brings us to Act 3. The Enawene-Nawe have been targeted by two of the most destructive forces in the modern Amazon. Dr. Carter, can you tee up the coming conflict for us?
The conflict is existential, Aver. Imagine building your entire existence around the abundance of fish in a river, and then a powerful political entity plans to put a massive industrial complex upstream. The threats facing the Enawene-Nawe come from two sides: the industrial giants building hydroelectric dams, and the agricultural frontier, the cattle ranchers invading their most sacred land. For a people whose survival is based on an unbroken spiritual pact with the river and the land, this modern assault is a death sentence. We'll break down the specifics of the 80 planned dams and the invasion of the sacred Rio Preto area after the break. We're back, and the tone of this conversation is about to shift from wonder to raw, urgent outrage. Dr. Carter, let's talk about the existential crisis facing the Enawene-Nawe. The state government of Mato Grosso planned a massive complex of hydroelectric dams in the Juruena River basin, right upriver from the tribe's territory. How many dams were initially planned, and what did the tribe fear?
The scale of the project is staggering. The Indians were initially told the number was around 5. The truth, which later emerged, was a plan for up to 80 hydroelectric dams along the Juruena River and its tributaries. The threat is not just to their resources, it is a threat to their theology. Their fear, articulated clearly with twofold: water pollution and the destruction of the fish. If the fish die, the Yãkwa Ritual cannot be performed. If the Yãkwa Ritual stops, the cosmic pact is broken.
So the destruction of the fishing ecology is literally the end of their world. It's a direct threat from humans to their Yakairiti spirits. What happens when the spirit owners of the fish are disrespected on this scale?
In their view, the Yakairiti will take vengeance, not just on the people who built the dams, but on all the Enawene-Nawe. The dams pollute the water, alter the flow, and destroy the migratory patterns of the fish they rely on. The dams, therefore, prevent the tribe from fulfilling its sacred obligation to the spirits. The Yakairiti will inevitably retaliate. It's an environmental crisis and a spiritual Armageddon rolled into one.
And who is funding this industrial-scale destruction? The articles point to a major figure in the region's politics and agribusiness.
Some of the dams were being funded by the Maggi Company, one of the world's largest producers of soya, to benefit their agribusiness. The connection is direct. One member of the family, Blairo Maggi, was the governor of Mato Grosso State. This is the clear case of political power and massive agricultural interest moving in to exploit indigenous land for corporate gain, prioritizing hydroelectric power over the existence of a unique traditional people.
And were the Enawene-Nawe properly consulted?
No, they were not properly consulted about the project. This led to desperate struggles. The Enawene-Nawe and neighboring tribes mounted road blockades and at one point invaded a dam construction site in protest. They have written to the UN stating, "We don't want the dams dirtying our water, killing our fish, invading our lands." The response from the authorities has often been to simply overturn court-ordered suspensions and continue construction swiftly, leaving the tribe feeling, as they put it, very sad and tired of their concerns falling on deaf ears.
The dams are one side of the coin, the industrial threat. The other side is the slow, agonizing death of their most important territory, the Rio Preto area, which they call Adowina. Why is Adowina so crucial, and what is happening there?
The Adowina, or Rio Preto area, is the heart of their ecological and spiritual occupation. It's where they build the majority of their fishing camps and the sophisticated wooden dams to trap and smoke fish during the wet season. Critically, it is also where many important spirits live. Even though their primary indigenous land was officially recognized in 1996, the Adowina area was crucially left out of the official demarcation.
A massive bureaucratic failure, leaving a sacred, vital area unprotected.
And the ranchers moved in immediately. The area is now being invaded by cattle ranchers who are cutting down the forest to create cattle pasture. The deforestation has a cascading effect. It destroys the ecosystem, which impacts the fish, and it pollutes the water. But the direct conflict is more brutal. The ranchers have burned down the Indians' fishing camps and threatened violence if they rebuild their wooden dams.
They are not just destroying the resources, they are physically destroying the tools of the ritual, the places of worship, and threatening the people themselves. The ranchers are directly preventing the Enawene-Nawe from completing the Yakwa.
That is the tragic summary. An Enawene-Nawe man, in a heartbreaking quote, looked at the deforested land and said simply, "It was beautiful here." The tribe is stuck between massive state-backed industrial dams upriver and violent land grabbers on their most sacred fishing ground. It is an organized assault on their diet, their environment, their religion, and their future. They are literally being squeezed out of existence. The land itself, the source of their life, and the residence of their spirits is being turned into a barren cattle pasture.
This brings us to the ultimate question. If this tribe of 500 people, with their millennia-old, complex spiritual and ecological system, is wiped out, what is the global loss? And what is the international community, and specifically UNESCO, doing about it? Let's take our final segment break, and when we return, we'll discuss why the Enawene-Nawe struggle is the world struggle, and what can be done to honor the UNESCO recognition. Welcome back to the final act of our deep dive into the Enawene-Nawe. We've traced their unique red meat-free existence, the profound 4-month Yãkwa ritual, and the dual crisis of the 80 planned dams and the ranchers' invasions of the sacred Rio Preto area. Dr. Carter, let's talk legacy. If they vanish, what have we lost?
We have lost an irreplaceable piece of human heritage and an essential library of ecological knowledge. The Enawene-Nawe represent a perfect example of what happens when a cosmology and an ecology become a single, coherent system. They aren't just a tribe that practices a religion. They are a living demonstration that you can achieve massive-scale, non-red meat subsistence through sophisticated, seasonal, riverine engineering. Their system of building the large wooden dams and preserving the fish, their use of vegetable salt and wild honey as complementary ritual objects, this is sophisticated knowledge that we, the modern world, are allowing to be extinguished by beef and energy production.
They are a living counterexample to the idea that humans must be destructive. They have achieved balance, and we are punishing them for it.
And the international community recognized the gravity of the loss. In 2011, UNESCO recognized the Yãkwa Ritual as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity in urgent need of safeguarding. This is a massive stamp of approval, an acknowledgement that the ritual is not just of local importance, but of global significance. The ritual itself, however, has been under physical threat. In some years, the tribe has encountered drastically low fish stocks, directly impacting the ceremony. The fishing ritual has at times had to be brought to a halt. The UNESCO recognition is meaningless if the rivers are poisoned and the fish are gone. You can't safeguard a ritual without safeguarding its essential ingredients.
And those ingredients are fish. Let's look at the political strategy of the tribe. They have been active. They have protested. What exactly are their demands right now? And what's the immediate tangible action that outside organizations like Survival International are trying to support?
They have two very clear, non-negotiable demands that address both crises. 1. Suspend the dam project. They demand the suspension of all hydroelectric dam construction in the Juruena Basin and a full, independent environmental and social impact assessment with proper consultation. 2. Demarcate the Rio Preto area. They are lobbying for the immediate official recognition of the Rio Preto region as theirs.
It's a race against deforestation and concrete. And for the audience who are often asking, what does this have to do with me? Or why does a tribe of 500 matter? What would you say?
I would say two things. First, this is a matter of human rights and moral consistency. The world recognizes the land and rights of indigenous peoples, but when those rights clash with billion-dollar corporate interests, the rights are systematically ignored. If we allow a people to be wiped out for soybeans and electricity, we establish a terrible precedent for all marginalized communities. Second, it's a matter of ecological wisdom. The Enawene-Nawe cosmology, the deep-seated, constant fear of the Yakairiti's vengeance if they destroy the earth, is an incredibly effective traditional form of environmental conservation. They have lived in complex balance with this rich ecosystem for centuries. Their wisdom is more potent than all the modern conservation textbooks in the world, and we are letting a greedy minority silence it forever. When the Yakairiti take vengeance, the Enawene-Nawe elders believe it will kill them all. But perhaps, when we destroy the Amazon, the vengeance of the earth will simply start with them and then spread to us all.
A sobering thought. The cycle of the Enawene-Nawe is a sacred exchange. Fish for the spirits in exchange for life. The modern world cycle is an industrial exchange. Soya for money in exchange for death. And the sheer scale of their ritual, that 4-month-long banquet, is a desperate, ongoing prayer for balance. Dr. Carter, thank you for walking us through this incredible story. The complexity of the Yakwa, the sophistication of the wooden dams, the pure terror of the Yakairiti's vengeance, and the sheer audacity of the threats they face, it's a story we need to share. We have included links in the description to Survival International and other organizations supporting the Enawene-Nawe. Please share this conversation, educate yourself, and support the fight to save the Enawenê-Nawê, their ritual, and their river.
My pleasure, Ava. It's a fight the world cannot afford to lose.
That's it for this week's Echoes of the Earth. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and always ask, whose echo are we missing? Leave your comment in the comment section, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps us a lot.